I am DR.R.KRISHNAVENI, Associate Professor in PG and Research Department of Commerce, A.D.M.COLLEGE for Women Autonomous, Nagapattinam. I am going to present the module on Consumer Protection Act 1986. An introduction to Consumer Act, the meaning of Consumer Act, main features of Consumer Protection Act, the rights of consumer, consumer responsibilities, Consumer Protection Council, and Consumer Dispute Redressal Adjudicatory Bodies. Now before that, we will see the history of Consumer Protection Act. A small informations. The Act was passed in Lok Sabha on 9th December 1986 and it came into force from 1st July 1987. Rajya Sabha passed on 10th December 1986 and assented by the President of India on 24th December 1986 and was published in the Gazette of India on 26th December 1986. Before that, we are going to introduce what is a consumer. A consumer is defined as someone who acquires goods or service for direct use or ownership rather than for resale or use in production and manufacturing. Consumer interest can also be protected by promoting the competition in the markets which directly or indirectly serve consumers consistent with economic efficiency. Consumer protection can also be asserted via the non-government organizations and individual as consumer activism. The meaning of consumer protection is a practice. Consumer protection is the practice of safeguarding buyers of goods and services and the public against unfair practices in the marketplace. The main features of Consumer Protection Act that applies to all goods and services unless specifically exempted by the central government. It covers all the sectors, private, public and cooperative. The provisions of the Act are compensatory in nature. It provides adjudicatory authorities which are simple, speedy and inexpensive. It also provides Consumer Protection Council at national, state and district levels. Next we will see about the rights of consumer. The Act is intended to protect the following rights of the consumer. The right of protection from marketing of goods and services which are hazardous to life and property. A right to be informed about the quality, quantity, purity, standard and prices of the goods or services so that the consumers are protected from the unfair trade practices. A right to have access to variety of goods and services at a competitive price. That means a right to choose. A right to be heard and to be assured that consumer interest will receive due consideration. A right to stop unfair trade practices, restrictive trade practices and exploitation of consumer. A right to consumer education. A right of speedy and simple redressal to consumer dispute. This rights of consumer is also represented in the figure, that is against hazardous goods, the information about the product, access of goods at a competitive price, to be heard, to redressal, to educate. This is the main rights of consumer. Next we will see about the consumer responsibilities. A responsible consumer is one who takes active part in the consumer protection. While exercising the rights described above, a consumer is expected to shoulder the responsibilities and take an active role in consumer movement. The responsibilities of consumer are one, we can say the critical awareness. It is the responsibility of the consumer to be alert and question about the price and quality of the goods and services he buys and uses. Consumer should look, listen and ask questions. He needs to shop around checking the facts of products and services. He should assess the value for money, value for people and value for the environment. The next about action. It is a consumer responsibility to assert himself and act to ensure that he gets a fair deal. As long as he remains as a passive consumer, he will continue to be exploited. When something is wrong, one should act to put it right. One should value responsible with others in the community. The consumer need to ensure that he do not compromise his culture and customs in getting a fair deal. Social concern, next point related to social concern. It is the responsibility of consumer to be aware of the impact of his use of consumer goods and services on other citizens, especially disadvantages and powerless groups, whether in the local or regional or international community. He needs to make sure that the product and services that he uses are not produced in a situation that harms others. Another one, the environmental concern. Consumer should understand the environmental and other consequences of his consumption. He should recognize his individual and collective responsibility to conserve the natural resources and protect the earth for future generations. He needs to make sure that the production, use and disposal of goods and services do not harm the environment. Sustainable consumption. The consumer before buying a goods or before availing service should satisfy about the need for the same and also should consume only up to his requirement and should not let goods and services wasted. This is most important, sustainable consumption. Working together. Consumers should shoulder the responsibility of organizing the consumers and together to develop the strength and influence. To promote and protect the interests of consumers, it is essential to stand with others who are working for the cause of consumer. One should organize the consumers and make them work together for the welfare of the consumer. And we will see about the provisions under the Act. The main object of the Consumer Protection Act of 1986 is to safeguard the interests of consumers. That made provisions for the establishment of Consumer Protection Council and Consumer Dispute Redressal Adjudicatory Bodies. Consumer Protection Council, the Act provides for the establishment of Consumer Protection Council at national level, state level, district level. The object of these councils are to help the respective governments in adopting and reviving the policies for promoting and protecting the rights of the consumers. The composition of these consumer council is broad-based. The citizen and organizations representing different interest groups having implications for consumer rights, protections of members of the councils of these councils. The consumer councils are required to be constituted on public-private partnership basis for better feedback and thereby review the policy in the area of consumer right protection. The main object of this council is to promote and protect the rights and interests of the consumers in the society. consumer disputes redressal adjudicatory bodies. The Act envisages a three-tier quasi-judicial system. There are consumer dispute redressal adjudicatory bodies established at three levels, that is district level, state level and national level. They are known as the district forum, district level district forum, state level state commission, and if it is a national commission. So these decentralized infrastructure help the consumer who are agreed to approach the appropriate fora. The district forum is presided by the district judge. The state commission is presided by the retired high court judge. The national commission is presided by the retired Supreme Court judge. The Central Consumer Protection Council, the central government may by notification establish the council to be known as Central Consumer Protection Council. The Central Council shall consist of the following members: Minister in charge of Consumer Affairs in the central government, who shall be the chairman, and such a number of other officials and non-official members. The State Council shall meet as and when necessary, but not less than 2 meetings in a year. The State Council shall meet at such a time and place as the chairman may specify and observe such a procedure as may be prescribed by the state government. And another one, the composition of the district forum. Each district forum shall consist of a person who is or has been or is qualified to be a district judge shall be its president. 2 other members who shall be a person of ability, integrity and standing and have adequate knowledge or experience in dealing with the problems relating to economics, law, commerce, accountancy, industry, public affairs, administration, and one of whom shall be a woman. Another one, we will see about the consumer dispute redressal agencies. The complaint application form. Before that, we must know the application form should contain what are the name and the full address of the complainant, and the name and full address of the opposite party, describes of goods and services, about the quality and quantity, and what is the price, the date and proof of purchase, the bill and the vouchers, nature of deception and type of redressal prayed for. The consumer disputes redressal agencies, composition of the National Commission. National Commission shall consist of a person who is or has been a judge of Supreme Court to be appointed by the central government, who shall be its president, I already informed. 4 other members who shall be the person of ability, integrity and standing and have an adequate knowledge or experience in dealing with problems relating to economic, law, commerce, accountancy, industry, public affairs or administration, of whom shall be a woman and shall be appointed by the central government on the recommendations of the selection committee consisting of a person who is a judge of the Supreme Court to be nominated by the Chief Justice of India, Chairman. The Secretary in the Department of Legal Affairs in the Government of India, member. The salary and other allowances payable to and other terms and conditions of services of the members shall be prescribed by the central government. Every member shall hold office for a term of 5 years or up to the 70 years of age, whichever is earlier, and are not eligible for reappointment. A person appointed as a president or as a member before the commencement of the Consumer Protection Amendment Act 1993 shall continue to hold such office till the completion of his term. Jurisdiction of the National Commission. Subject to the other provisions of this Act, the National Commission shall have the power to entertain or complaints where the value of goods or services and compensation exceed rupees 20 lakhs, and appeal against the order of any state commission, to call for the records and pass orders in any pending consumer dispute of state commission. Power and the procedure applicable to National Commission. One thing, the power of civil court, the power to issue an order to the opposite party directing him to do the things in the section. Appeal means any person aggrieved by an order made by the National Commission under section 21 may appeal to the Supreme Court within a period of 30 days from the date of order and can be extended at the desire of the Supreme Court. Finality of order. Every order of district forum or state commission or the National Commission shall, if no appeal has been made against, to be a final order. The limitation period. District forum or state commission or National Commission shall not admit a complaint unless it is filed within 2 years from the date of cause of action. A complaint may be entertained after the period specified if the complaint satisfies that he had sufficient cause for not filling the complaint within such period. Administrative control. When you say about the administrative control, the National Commission shall have administrative control over the State Commission in the one is calling for the regular returns regarding the institution, disposal or pendency of cases. They issue instructions for the adoption of uniform procedure in hearing of matters, prior service of copies of document produced by the parties, English, translation of judgments written in any language, the speedy grant of copies of document, etc. Overseeing the functioning of the State Commission or the District Forum. The State Commission shall have administrative control over the district. The enforcement of order by the District Forum, State Commission, National Commission. Every order made by the District Forum, the State Commission or the National Commission may be enforced in the same manner as if it were made by the court. It can be sent to the court if such order cannot be executed. In the case of order against the company, the registered office of the company, or in the case of an order against any person, the place where the person resides or does the business or work, and also the court to which the order is to be sent for execution. The dismissal of frivolous or annoying complaints. Where a complaint instituted before the District Forum, the State Commission or the National Commission is found to be frivolous or annoying, it shall dismiss the complaint and order complainant to pay the opposite party such a cost not exceeding 10,000 rupees. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.